So what we're going to look at for the rest of the time we're here together is what happens if I don't give you the graph, okay? What happens if I just give you the actual function, the cubic or quartic function, okay? But I still want to know the answer to all those questions. All right, well, we're going to use Desmos. Okay, Desmos is amazing for this because, yes, Connor, that is perfectly fine. Thank you for telling me. So sorry, interacting with the chat again. Okay, so we're going to use Desmos. So I actually am going to attempt to do a half and half here. Okay, I know it gets kind of small when I do that, but I just want to show you how good Desmos is. So in Desmos, if you want to have it on your phone and follow along with me, that's fine. I'm going to do y equals negative x raised to the third plus 3x raised to the second. Okay, and as soon as I type it in, I'm going to actually hide the expression so that I can see my graph better. Okay, and then I'm going to click on my graph and you should see these little gray points. Okay, and then if you click on those little gray points, they tell you what they are. Okay, and those points, that's where you're going to get all of the information you need to answer these questions. Okay, so remember that zeros are the same thing as x-intercepts, right? But I only need the x value. So it looks like we have points at 0 and 3. Okay. Now, because you have Desmos, I'm actually going to also ask you for the y-intercept for the first time. Okay. So remember, that's where we cross the y-axis. And because of the way that I asked you, because I asked for the y-intercept, it is an ordered pair. It is a point, and it happens to be at the origin. Okay, so zeros, you don't have to write the ordered pairs. You can just tell me the x values. But when I specifically ask for an intercept, you need an ordered pair. Okay, now you should also be able to easily see the minimums and the maximums. All right, remember a minimum is at the bottom of a turn, right? It's when the point's at the bottom, and then a maximum is when the point's at the top. Okay, so we actually have a minimum at 0, 0. It is okay if you use the same point for multiple things, and then you should see a maximum at 2, 4. Okay, now one thing you don't have to do is to sketch a picture. Okay, but if it helps you to just kind of draw a little picture on the side, okay, you certainly can. All right, and what I'm going to do now that I have my little picture on the side is I am actually going to make my screen bigger so you can see my stuff again. All right, and then we're going to talk about everything else. All right, so it's cubic. All right, so don't forget, you can look and see the highest power is x cubed, so it is cubic. All right, so your domain and range should be all real numbers again. If you don't remember that, you should still be able to look at the graph and decide that. Okay. All right, and then for your end behavior, I'm going to use my little picture. Here's my left, here's my right. Okay, make sure you know your left and your right. All right, and so my left is going up and my right is going, whoa, that's craziness, sorry, going down. All right, and so remember, negative infinity means left, and that's the one that's going up, and positive infinity means right, and that's the one that's going down. Okay. All right, and then when we do increasing and decreasing, all you really need to remember is where were your mins and your max. And of course, you're welcome to look at Desmos, okay? But I just wanted to use my little picture here so I could draw on it because I can't draw on Desmos, okay? So I've got my little picture here. and I'm going to start on the left, and I'm going to decrease first. So start with negative infinity, and you decrease to the x value of the minimum. Then we're going to increase from the min to the max. So from 0 to 2. And then we're going to decrease again from the max to the right forever. I cannot say that enough. We're going to the right. Okay? That is the only thing that's different about this than what we just finished doing, is that you have to get the graph from Desmos. Now, because it's in Desmos, it is a lot more likely to have decimals for answers. Okay, so let's look at the next one, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I say decimals. Okay, all right, let's split my screen again. All right, open up my expression, and I'm just going to edit the one I already have. So positive minus 6x squared plus 7x plus 2. And as soon as I get it typed in, hide the expression. You can zoom in if you need to, you can slide it around if you need to, and then you can click on it. Gray dots will appear the first time you click on it, and then you can click on all the gray dots to get the points. Okay? All right. Uh-oh. What did I drop? Oh. I got some chocolate during the break. It's a little early for chocolate, but I don't care. All right, so now we're going to come over here, and we've got lots of writing to do. All right, so our zeros. All right, look at your x-axis. You've got some decimals and a whole number. So we got negative, what, point? Ugh, that is sloppy. Give me a second. All right, we've got negative 0.236. We've got positive 2, and we've got 4.236. Okay, now this one has a very different y-intercept that's not any of the other points, so make sure that you can pick that out. 0, 2. All right, and we do have a maximum at the top of our hill here, and then we'll have a minimum at the bottom of our valley here. Okay, so we're just going to copy those points. Please do not round them anymore. They are already rounded. Okay, so you need to write down all those decimal places. Okay, all right, now it is still and if you want to draw your little picture, you can. If you prefer to keep looking at Desmos, that's fine. But it is still a cubic function, so our domain and range has not changed. All right, but I like to draw the picture here because I like to be able to see, like, because you can't see arrows on Desmos, but right, like you could slide this down forever and ever and ever and ever, and you can see that it keeps going. Okay, and then you can slide it up forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and see that it keeps going. So even though it doesn't have arrows, hopefully you understand that those would be arrows. All right, and so then this is my left and this is my right. And so the left is going down and the right is going up. Okay, and then when you think about increasing and decreasing and you trace it from the left, you got to go up first. So we're going to increase first. Sorry, just trying to change colors. All right, until we get to that first maximum, And yes, you need the decimal. And then we're going to decrease from that same number to the minimum. And then we're going to increase again from that minimum to positive infinity. Okay? All right, and then I'm just going to make it a little bit, I'm going to make it bigger real quick so you can make sure that you get everything copied down. And hopefully, okay, you will notice that you've got x to the 4th in your equation here. So that means when you type it in Desmos, you should see an M or a W. An M or a W. Okay, so I'm going to slide it over. Whoa, whoop. Come on. All right, and then I'm going to bring my expression back up. And I'll start this one from scratch. Okay. All right, so hopefully you'll notice that you might need to shift this one around a little bit to see everything. Okay, it does look like an M. All right, and the reason you want to know what shape you should be able to find is because if you don't see all of it on the screen, you might have to like shrink your screen down so you can see everything. So I've got this M shape, all right, but I don't know about you, but I do not see any x-intercepts, any zeros. It does not cross the x-axis, okay? So over here on the zeros line, I'm going to write none. Okay, it just doesn't cross the x-axis, and that's okay. All right, now there is a y-intercept, okay? Look at your y-axis. It crosses at 0, -5. All right, but let me get you guys to type something in the chat box. That 0, -5 is also a what? That 0, -5 is also a what? In terms of the other stuff I have to find. So it's a y-intercept, but what else is it? All right, yes, okay, lots of you, okay. That is also a minimum. All right, so we can go ahead because it's at the bottom of a curve, right? It's at the bottom of a term. So we're going to put minimum on that line, or put that number on, or that point on that line. And then how many maximums do I have? Show of fingers. How many maximums do I have? 2. Good. Okay. And they're decimals. So I might have to write a little bit smaller here. So we've got -0.816, comma, -3.667. And then we've got positive 0.816 and -3.667. Okay. All right. Now, remember the domain for these things. The domain is still all real numbers, but the range is definitely different. The range is definitely different when you get to an x to the 4th. Okay, so you have to think about how this w works. These two ends go down forever. So that means our range, when we start at the bottom, starts at -infinity. Okay, and the highest point it ever goes to, right, is a maximum. Now, is one of them higher than the other one? No. And so we just need to know what that y value is, okay, and stop there. All right, now for our end behavior, right, we're looking at the left and the right. They're both going down forever. Feel free to search your Desmos. They definitely go down forever. Okay, so both of these should be -infinity. Ooh. Sorry, getting a little sloppy here. All right, and then for my intervals of increasing and decreasing, okay, if I go back over here to my graph, I do need to know my maxes and my mins so I know where to stop. So remember, you come from the left, so we would have to go up first. So we would have to increase first and stop when we get to that first maximum, which is at negative 0.816. All right, then we're going to decrease from negative 8.16 to our minimum, which is 0. Then we're going to increase again from that minimum to the next maximum. Make sure you're using the x values. And then last but not least, we're going to decrease. So we start at the maximum and we go to the right forever. So we need a positive infinity. Okay? Any questions? Hey Mickey, did your granddad tell you I met him in the grocery store? I love it when I meet people. Oh, okay. Tell him I said hi. All right. Oh, that's on the video, by the way. Too funny. Okay. All right. Last one. Okay. I'm just going to edit what I already have typed in. I need to squeeze the plus x cubed in there. Change this to a minus. Change this to a plus. And I've got a completely different graph. All right. So let me slide that around. All right. Even though it's weird, is it still an M or a W? Okay. Now remember that's x to the fourth, so we could have 4 solutions, right? We could have up to 4 solutions, and solutions and zeros are the same thing, all right? But this time we only have 2. Okay, so it is okay that we only have 2 zeros. Remember, we could have up to 4, but we don't have to have all 4. Okay, so we're gonna get our decimals there. And negative 1.141. Okay, we have a y-intercept right here at 0.5. All right, real quick in the chat box, what else is 0.5? It's the y-intercept, but what else is it? Yay. Okay, it is also the maximum this time. Very good. Okay. All right, and so then that means we have 2 minimums. So I'm just looking at those ordered pairs. A little sloppy. Sorry about that. I'll have to go down here. All these decimals are hard to fit on this line. I guess that's the benefit of writing on your own paper. You can take up as much space as you need. All right, and then let's see. Let's get our domain. Change colors here. All right, we've got still all real numbers. All right, now our range this time, okay, when we come up from the bottom, the first thing you get to is a minimum. And then you go up from there. So you have to start at your minimum. Remember, you need the y value. Okay, and then you're going to go up to positive infinity from there. Both ends are going up, so these should both be positive infinities. And then when you fill in your intervals of increasing and decreasing, all right, trace it. Go to the left, start on the left and trace. We're going to have to decrease first until we get to our first minimum. So we're going to start at negative infinity and decrease until we get to negative 1.838. And then we're going to increase from that minimum to our maximum. Then we're going to decrease again. And last but not least, we're going to increase. Remember, you always end with positive infinity. Okay, so let me make that bigger so you can see it. And clean up my sloppiness. Okay. All right. Are there any questions on how to read Desmos? Okay, so when you do it for practice, right, when you do the worksheet, you don't have to draw any pictures if you don't want to. It's not part of the worksheet, okay? But you do need to label and fill in all the parts, all the questions, okay? Make sure you label. Make sure you tell me what number you're working on.